Alright, set 2 is multiply and divide our rational expressions, so our fraction functions. We tend to like multiply and divide as long as we remember everything has to be in a parenthesis. It generally works fairly well for us. So let's start with something very simple and basic with a monomial, meaning we don't have any pluses and minus signs. Oops, 10, let's go x cubed y4, and then 18y squared. Okay, so when it comes to this multiplying of fractions, everything here is a monomial. Everything is being multiplied. So that multiply sign is really irrelevant. The only thing we care about is top to bottoms. You could put everything in parentheses if that makes you feel better, because everything is being multiplied. So we don't need to worry about any type of factoring. So in this case, just start reducing. I could do 2 into 6 is a 3. The x squareds cancel. The y squared leaves this a y1. And then moving over to the next one, I could say 3 goes into 18 6 times. I could say the y1 reduces the y2 to a 1. Let's see. I could go the y1 reduces the 4 to a 3. 10 and 6 reduces. So that when I go and put all of my stuff together, what's left standing is 5x cubed y cubed all over 3, and nothing else is reducible. And that's just a monomial, where you just go top to bottom, what goes together, what doesn't go together. Alright, let's look at some stuff that we're going to have to start factoring. And the reason I know I'm going to have to factor is because now I have pluses and minus signs. Again, a multiply sign is pretty irrelevant as long as we know the numerator and numerator, denominator, denominator. Now when I look at those pieces, I'm multiplying top with top, bottom with bottom. I don't want to distribute. I want to look to simplify stuff down. And a key component to everything in this chapter is factor, factor, factor. So when I look at this first numerator, I could factor a GCF of 3x out of there. If I take a 3x out of there, left over is 1 minus 9x squared. Well, that's even factor farther because it is a difference of 2 squares. So that becomes 3x, and then 1 minus 3x, and 1 plus 3x. Okay, when I come over here to this numerator, I want to look to factor this. Now this is where I was telling you, you definitely want to get out of the habit of the bottoms up, because you could be potentially doing bottoms up 4 different times. And that's not something you're going to want to do. So you best get used to trial and error. 3x squared can only be split with 3x and x. 1 can only be split with 1 and 1. So we just need to check our signs. How do we get -4? If they're both negative. Alright, now let's go to the denominator. Alright, here 3x can only be split with 3x and x. 1 can only be split 1 and 1. How do I check my inners and outers so that I get -2? Well, if this is 3 and this is 1, that must be negative and that must be positive. That's the only way I'm going to get a -2. And then I already have my 3x there. You are going to have probably these little checks in your work, and that's fine. Not having them will cause you more problems. Now cancel things that are alike. 3x cancels 3x, x minus 1 cancels x minus 1, 3x plus 1 and 1 plus 3x, those are the same. I get to cancel those. All right. Now, left over is 1 minus 3x and 3x minus 1. Those are very, very, very similar to one another. And one thing you definitely have to start recognizing is opposites. They are opposites of each other. If I take a negative 1 out of the first parenthesis, that 3x becomes positive, the 1 becomes negative. Now they're alike. So this is negative 3x minus 1 quantity squared. We would never distribute answers back. But if we can simplify them, we absolutely will. Knowing opposites is something that does occur quite frequently, and recognizing them and finding them. Let's try another. X plus 2, 27x cubed plus 8, 9x squared minus 6x plus 4. Now, if it's not a fraction, we get to make it into one by putting it over 1. I highly recommend we put parentheses around them right away so we don't try to do something foolish and cancel things out that can't be canceled, because it's an all or none, either the entire parenthesis or none of the parenthesis. X plus 2 cannot be factored any farther. We leave it alone. 9x squared minus 6x plus 4. Potentially it could. We need to just check it. I would check 3x for 9. 4 and 4 gives me 2. If I have 6 and 6, that doesn't work. All right. So my other option is I could go 4 and 1, but that would give me 12 and 3, still not going to be a 6. I could go 9 and 1, but that's going to be 18, not going to give me a 6. Or flip it around, 9 and 1, and then 4 and 1, still not going to give me a 6. So this does not factor. So we're going to keep it just as it is. 9x squared minus 6x plus 4. All right, we don't have to worry about a 1. Nothing can be done with that. But this one, we should recognize it as perfect cubes. Yes, you're going to have cubes, GCFs, difference of two squares, normal 3 trinomial factorings. It's all of our factorings. So if you don't know how to factor, I suggest you spend a whole lot of time brushing up on it. 27x cubed is made of 3x and 8 is made of a 2. So the rule says one of each same sign. Square the first opposite sign, multiply the pieces, square the last. And when that happens, look, very nice. Same parentheses. Cha-ching, cha-ching. Left standing, x plus 2 and 3x plus 2. These are all or none, and since they're not the same, it is none. This is your final answer, x plus 2 over 3x plus 2. All right, so let's look at a few divisions. Division is very simple or very similar to multiplication. So if you can do multiply, you can do divide. What happens with division is that instead of a multiply sign, we have a divide sign. But just like anything, when we divide with fractions, we keep the first and multiply by the reciprocal of the second. So if I can do multiply, I can do division. Because the only thing I have to remember to do is reciprocate the numerator and denominator. Now we look to factor. Well, 3's not going anywhere. The numerator, what multiplies by 6 subtracts to be 1, is a plus 3 and a minus 2. 4x minus 8 has a GCF of 4, so that leaves an x minus 2. X squared has a GCF of x and an x plus 3. Now it's a matter of cross off the things that are exactly alike. X minus 2 go away, x plus 3 goes away, left standing 3 over 4x. Okay, let's try again. 8x squared plus 10x minus 3 over 4x squared. We're dividing by 4x squared minus x. Now, if it doesn't have a fraction, you make it a fraction. Then, because it's division, you multiply by reciprocal of the second one. Always the second. Never, 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 never the first. Reciprocate the second. Factor. Let's see, 8x, 3, let's see, the 1 I don't have to worry about. The 4, the x squared is already there. I can take an x out, and that leaves a 4x minus 1. Let's see, up on top. I'm going to look at down here. Notice this is a 4x minus 1. And I have an 8 that I need to separate. So I could go 8 and 1, 2 and 4, or 4, 1, doesn't really matter. But because I have a 4x down here, I'm going to think that to cancel stuff, it's probably a 4x and a 2x. More than likely, the whole goal is to get rid of stuff. So more than likely, whatever's factorable on one is going to be factorable on the other so that they can cancel. So in this case, 3 is either 1 and 3 or 3 and 1. Again, I'm going to look down here and see that the 4x has a 1. Therefore, I'm going to assume that's what it is. But I'm only going to assume so far. I'm going to check it because we always have to check that we factored correct. Obviously, that's 8 and that's 3, so we don't care about our first and our last. There's 12 minus 2 for 10. It checks. And this is as much of a check that you need to do. It's not difficult and it's not long. Make sure you do it though. Alright, so cancel stuff out that's alike. 4x minus 1 cancels 4x minus 1. And what's left standing? 4x cubed. All done. Yes, you do want to combine those. I wouldn't, if there was a distributing, I wouldn't want to distribute. But x and x, you definitely want to combine together. Alright, we're going to try one more. X squared, 8x plus 16 divided by x plus 2, all divided. X squared plus 6x plus 8 over x squared minus 4. Alright, so take a moment, pause the video, try it on your own, see if you can divide this, and then come back and I'm going to work through it and see if it matches what you came up with. Alright, to factor the first one, multiply 16 adds to be 8, so we get x plus 4 over x plus 2. We're going to multiply and we're going to reciprocate. So x squared minus 4 is a difference of two squares, x minus 2 and x plus 2. And the bottom multiplies to be 8, adds to be 6, so that's a plus 4 and a plus 2. What's alike? What's going to cancel out? X plus 4, x plus 2, and it doesn't matter which one, as long as it's only one. So left standing, x plus 4, x minus 2 over x plus 2. Done. These are not alike. They are not opposites. Do not distribute. Leave them as complete factors, and you're finished. So that's set 2, multiply and divide.